This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
My name is Desiree, and I'm a first-generation college student.
I'm Zach. I'm undecided in my major, and I'm a catcher.
This message was sent to you.
$500 down the toilet along with your performance. You are worthless.
Get the hell off the field before you lose me any more money, you sorry
This is wrong.
I'm more than a bet.
Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
Let's talk photos, not just storing them, showcasing them. You've got images that matter. Whether you're a photographer, a business updating your followers, or just someone who wants to share life's moments the right way. So why hand them over to Big Tech's one-size-fits-all cloud? Big Tech companies are the fast food of photo sharing. Quick, easy, but not exactly gourmet. And what about your data integrity? JAlbum.net is the photo sharing solution that puts you in control. Want to host images on your own server? You can. Want a layout that actually reflects your brand or style? JAlbum's customizability is unmatched. And if you're a business sharing regular photo updates with your audience, this tool was built with you in mind. But don't just take our word for it. Over 230 million web pages have been created with JAlbum, and it's got stellar reviews on Trustpilot to prove it. So head to JAlbum.net to download your free software and try it out. When you're ready to upgrade, use the code PODCAST for 20% off. Your photos, your layout, your rules. JAlbum.net.
Back to the show.
No love from the Golden State Warriors. You can't probably wallet.
I Rube. Let's get on with it now. It's the Friday football feast at 9 o'clock. Lacking a lot of football until the 11 o'clock hour. But, bam. Day after the National Basketball Association draft has come to a conclusion. Many people in North America right now are saying happy draft day. Minnesota Wild sends a first-round pick in the National Hockey League draft. Little light on the football until the 11 o'clock hour. Maybe it's just the Friday feast.
This show is naughty and might make you a potty mouth.
All these worldly centers we're going to be compensating in the Howe Covenant. Leads us to this.
That's what this team is all about, defense and breaking hearts.
We got to be about defense and breaking hearts, but you might have to wait till 2028 to realize the equation. And more on that momentarily, because we're not mad. It's a Friday. And they know more than we know. But nevertheless, it's time for the Friday football feast. Alec Lewis is with us at 11. Last time I saw Alec was at Bunkers in Minneapolis a couple of Sundays ago, and I couldn't convince him to hit the dance floor and unfurl some moves as the band, with elite musicality, sang a Sly and the Family Stone song. It might have been Thank Nordo for letting him be myself again. What's Nordo's stance on dancing at a bar when the band hits a funky song you enjoy? And good morning.
Good morning. I am a head nodder.
Yeah.
I am a shoulder shimmier.
Head nodder.
This show is naughty and might make you a potty mouth.
I would actually lean towards Alec Lewis, where I'm not out there.
That surprises.
Finding a friend. whether that's a familiar friend or potentially a new friend, and dancing on the dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a wallflower, man. I soak it in.
It surprises me because you can dance. I've seen you dance.
Yeah, it's
I
tough,
can't remember where we were. It may have been a Vikings preseason game. Bam. Here, there, or everywhere, somewhere across the Great Divide. Maybe it was. I saw you do that bit, the Cupid Shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're the bomb. I mean, not the only way to put it. You're the bomb. You were unbelievably rhythmically sound.
I am rhythmically sound. Here's the issue, though, is in my head I can keep the beat, and with my feet I can keep the beat, but the pillow top doesn't keep the beat. The rolls, it's a little bit slower, takes a little bit longer to get around. It's an ugly scene when the producer starts dancing.
So you never have been, man, this would be more, at least what I have witnessed, a female thing where, I don't know if it's 0 drinks, 1, 2, 3 drinks into somebody, and they're pining to dance, but they can't get the courage to get out on the dance floor.
Right.
And then like the right Earth, Wind, and Fire, or the right old, like, do you remember? And then you hear, ah! And the hands go up, and like, do you remember? Ah! They scream and they head out to the dance floor.
Yeah, the espresso martini falls over on the bar as they hastily throw it to get out there and groove. Yeah.
Let's groove tonight. Ah! Well, that surprises me that the right funky, like Curtis Mayfield's Move On Up. I mean, I think you would get out on the dance floor and do a shimmy if that song came on, or the right funky song hit, because you're rhythmically sound, and maybe it takes a couple of beers for you to get out there, but nevertheless, you're a very good dancer. That surprises me.
I appreciate that. But yeah, no, I like to, I'm a soak it in. I'm an observer. Give me the great music.
Yeah.
I'm going to move a little bit.
Alex stiff-armed me hard, man. I tried to, like, pull him out there, like, drag him, like, no, I'm staying here.
Get the elbows out, maybe knock the 7 and 7 out of somebody's hands, but you're feeling the music. That's how I do it. I'm a slow groover.
Feel you. Athletic Alec will be co-hosting some of the Friday football feasts during the 2025 football season.
You think he'll dance at the feast?
If the compensation's right, I think he will. But I haven't looked at the New York Times stock of late. But when we hit the Buffalo Wild Wings tour, Alec Lewis will be aiding us with some of the Friday football feasts, with Paul Charchian having departed the scene in covert fashion. And today, we will unveil something called Ask Alec Anything. All right? This is the Alliteration Covenant, 9 to noon, your audio leader at KFAN.
He's going to be so bashful in his answers.
That's why we're breaking the proverbial ice today.
We got to get this done now during the summer.
Yeah, so the first Friday football feast will be the Friday in front of the Bears game at Soldier Field to kick things off. And this will, in essence, act as like either a minor league game or like a morning workout before a big stakes race for some equine athlete.
Smart play.
When we have the pleasure and or the honor of working with Alec Lewis from the Athletic, we will dust off Ask Alec Anything, and it hopefully will become en/on vogue at Buffalo Wild Wings all throughout the upper Midwest with the Friday football feast. Nordo and I today will have some queries, and we'll utilize the talkbacks with the same bit. If you're interested, Alec Lewis covers the Vikings, assumedly for profit, for The Athletic and theathletic.com. And you know how to do the talkback by now. We've only done it 15 times this week. And free iHeartRadio app, baby microphone, Ask Alec Anything. Football obviously is the favorite candidate to receive the most Ask Alec Anythings with the talkbacks, and that's at 11 o'clock. I'm going to begin with Ask Alec Anything, if and or when we get to it. While growing up in Anniston, Alabama, did any of your family members profit off the making of moonshine? And have you ever been above the legal limit while imbibing moonshine? That's my Ask Alec Anything question for the day. And it leads me to wondering, what do we think about the making of moonshine? You ever made any moonshine, Mr. Nordo?
No, I appreciate the modern conveniences and creature comforts of a store that offers me a product that's been made at a very high and consistent level.
Okay,
for a very long time.
If I had $1,000 to wager, let's make it 100.
Yeah.
If I had $100 to wager, and I'm like wagering with one of those rubes that was just in for the wildly successful and or highly touted Power Trip Morning Show, our core 4 anchor leading 9 to noon, and the others to success.
Jerkass!
If I were to make a bet with one of those, has Nordo ever... What's funny? Has Nordo ever made beer? Like craft... Well, how do you describe it? Craft beer?
Sure, yes.
Okay, like making beer, right?
Correct, yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it because next door neighbor, Packer-loving Cotton John, has been known to do that about 5 to 10 times a year. I've happened over to his driveway in the past just to kind of see what the concoction looked like. And if you didn't know beer was being made, you would think the possibility somebody is making moonshine.
Yeah.
Because there's just a lot of complication that goes into this thing, at least for the non-beer drinker watching people make beer. So of my $100, and if we had some rube who just was in for initials and the wildly successful, highly touted Power Trip Morning Show. And he's like, how much? I say Nordo never has made beer. I would bet 90% of my bankroll the con has made beer in his life. Is it accurate, or did I just lose my metaphorical money?
I have to. It's tough because I've done a lot of living that stereotype over the last, a large part of my adult years.
Come on.
You're a loser.
Why don't you give me half the money and we'll go out back. I'll kick you in the nuts, and we'll call it a day.
It has nothing to do with a stereotype, okay? At least from my standpoint.
Well, no, it started early on, and I can't even remember why it came up. But you put wild turkey on me. There was something...
I did?
Yeah, Nordo.
Was that before or after I tried to give you the nickname Juice Box?
This was before.
Or after I tried to drop the nickname Stink on you. You stopped me in the hallway, eyeballed me, and said, that one's not going to work. Don't ever say it again. And I went, hey.
Early on, and I don't remember what happened or what led to it. But you kept talking, Saturday night, Nordo, lights go down, Ava and Stella are asleep. Nordo's going to crack open a bottle of wild turkey and
head to the basement with that bass and just start slapping it.
Well, it got to the point, and I forget now because this has been 11, 12 years. The guy, he was actually a rep for wild turkey, and somewhere through a relationship, maybe with Hawk.
I was trying to get you a deal.
Well, he gave me a case of wild turkey.
Oh,
yeah, he did.
What happened to said case?
Well, I ended up having to give it away. I did have one bottle, but then we did the Vikings bit down in Caledonia, Minnesota. I don't think you were able to do it. I think it was myself, maybe Bursich and Ben Lieber. Football town celebrating the Frichte family's dominance with the Caledonia. I believe it's the Warriors.
Isaac Frichte and his dad go crazy.
I think Caledonia might be they call themselves the wild turkey capital of the world.
Oh, geez.
Minnesota is so hot.
So I went through a whiskey stereotype. The beer stereotype's been in vogue. I'm portly. I'm husky. I get it. It's just baby fat. I'm still trying to work it off. Very sensitive subject. Don't judge me about it.
Great stereotype, dude.
Yeah, correct. So,
but I'm not stereotyping you with this beer bit. I mean,
but you looked at me and were willing to bet a mortgage payment that said I had made my own beer before.
But here's why. Because 97.5% of people listening to the Love Covenant right now, they grill, including yours truly.
Yeah.
I have a gas grill. All right. Don't at me. Don't judge me. Meat comes out fine. Oh, yeah. I enjoy it. However, there are those who they'll maybe look at it next level and be like, I'm of the charcoal variety.
Sure.
So I can get that smoky taste.
It's better flavor.
Okay, better flavor. Well, then there's you and the Traeger and it's asking you how you prepared some form of meat for your family. I mean, I got to block out 10 minutes of my day. So because of the explanation and the detail that goes into it, you've been kind enough in the past to either drop some off at my house because we live relatively close to each other, or bring some in here for my indulging that evening. Well, and it's fantastic. But what goes into it is a lot of detail and a lot of thought and a lot of patience. And that's why I took the leap for somebody in non-stereotypical fashion who likes beer.
Yeah.
You're a beer snob. Fair?
Fair.
Beer snob. Beer snobs make beer. So therefore, that's why I put up my mythical honeybee and 90% of it saying you've made beer before because you're a beer snob and beer snobs make beer.
Yeah. I have
What the hell am I missing here?
I think the brand is, and by the way, gas grill. I wish I had a gas grill at my house right now.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. When the kids want to eat.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to fire up, pellet this, waiting for the coals to get hot that.
Mm-hmm.
When I want to get hot in a second and fire up some brats and dogs or something for the kids, man, you need a gas grill. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a gas grill from my buddies here within the next week, just because we're talking about it now. I think it's Mr. Beer is the brand. They make those DIY kits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been in my storage closet for about 5-6 years now.
So you're telling me my discernment was so accurate, you actually have a beer making operation, this covert moonshine making operation that you haven't taken out of the box, so thus I got to pay 90% of the mythical honeybee, even though you have all of the operative tools needed to make the moonshine.
Yeah, I don't want to drink my own awful beer. Again, a lot of companies have done it at a high level for a long time.
Yep.
Total Wine is it's too convenient. It's too convenient. Chaska Wine and Spirits, you're right there. It's already made. It's ice cold. Why would I want to wait a week or 2 or 3 or however long it takes?
Right.
No, I can go to the store right now.
Box. Great box.
Yeah.
Ain't no doubt about it.
Sorry I couldn't fulfill that for you.
But that's okay, because that's what we think about making stuff like that, or maybe making moonshine. But when
I've never made moonshine either.
Right, but there's actually a way to make it. I mean, of course there's a way to make it. I mean, it's age old, and it goes back nearly at least, right around 100 years.
I have friends who have made that homemade Everclear. Have you ever heard of that? And I don't know what the grain is, but I think maybe you can put some fruits or some various things in there.
I've heard of Everclear.
Like some mason jar hooch.
I've never had it. The most aggressive alcohol that ever has gone in my body was actually provided by you when you gave me absinthe.
What were we talking about again?
You're like, drink this absinthe, Paul. It's the liquid of the green fairy. Come on. I told you it was weird today, man. That's why I got here so early. I just couldn't figure out what was happening.
Felt like I'd be in a dark alley with a trench coat on if I was talking about that.
You know where my desk is and stuff, man. I mean, like for 3 hours, I had to avoid the tumbleweeds blowing by me.
I always love that one.
I felt like I was in a barren desert, and it was kind of enjoyable.
You basically are.
Been to my desk. I'm a host with no name. All right, 3-2.
Moonshine.
Here's how you make moonshine. All right. You do. I mean, this is so complicated for something that probably tastes like gasoline, but that's why we have Ask Alec Anything, because the query is going to be, while growing up in Anniston, Alabama, have you ever known of family members, and it could be great-great-grandparents, who have profited off moonshine? Have you ever made moonshine? What does moonshine taste like? Here's how you do it. You drill a hole into the lid of a pressure cooker and thread it with copper tubing. Okay, first and foremost, what in the hell does that mean? And if you want to make a drink, if you want to make some form of beverage, alcoholic or not, why does it require a drill? I mean, you got to have like your best drill to drill a hole into the lid of a pressure cooker, which I would assume ruins the pressure cooker, and thread it with copper tubing. Can you explain that? I have no idea what that means. Can you help me here?
Well, that's the equipment.
And what's copper tubing? I mean, what's the purpose there? Any idea?
Well, I assume you're working at some point. You're going to boil something. It's going to get mighty hot. So I think that's where you go with that.
Step number 2, says the con. Boil 10 gallons of water and cook 10 pounds of cornmeal until it thickens.
Okay.
Stir in 10 pounds of sugar. You've worked with the Jolly Host for a decade plus. I see 10 pounds of sugar, and I'm like, my, show am good.
That's the old you.
That's very fairly stated. Very fairly stated. The Dustbuster nickname is not in play at this moment. Either is Puff the Magic Announcer. Okay, 3-2. Stir in 10 pounds of sugar and a half ounce of yeast.
Okay.
To start the fermentation process. Cover the mixture and store it in a cool, dark place to finish the fermentation. Strain the mash and heat it in the pressure cooker until alcohol forms. How does one know when the alcohol is formed? Any idea?
Probably no different than cooking or anything else. Maybe the water clears or it separates from the mash. I have no idea.
Have you ever had moonshine?
Yes, I have.
What does it taste like?
This, I guess.
Yes, I have. Wow.
I guess
it's what over under. Which way are you going to go on this? 3.5% of the audience right now is the number.
Right.
Has had or not had moonshine. I'm betting my newest mythical honeybee on the under 3.5%.
Yeah, I think it's under 3.5. I had it, or some form of it, that particular style. I mean, I think it was kind of, they were doing it in a process like you were talking about. Now, I didn't get it from some guy on a street corner. I actually had it at a restaurant.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But it's thick, man. It burns. It is super, super aggressive.
Did you enjoy it?
No, I did not.
So here's what, all right, it's
condensation with the copper tubing.
And how does it hit the body? So it hits the body in burn-like fashion, right?
Yeah, this was very, very high alcohol content.
Yeah, right, and that's part of the bit. Here's what Moonshine to Noon has discovered. Moonshine is generally not good for you due to several significant health risks. High alcohol content.
Yeah.
Moonshine often has a much higher alcohol content than regulated spirits, increasing the risk of alcohol poisoning. Toxic substances. Homemade moonshine can contain methanol, a toxic form of alcohol that can lead to serious health issues.
Well, maybe that's to your question, again, regulated and or there's a process that goes along with it.
Right.
If you stop the cook too early, is that a methanol situation? If you overcook, is that the methanol? There's got to be some science behind that finished product and maybe the sweet spot between just being a heavy, boozy drink and being paint thinner, right?
Contamination risks. There is a risk of lead poisoning from contaminated still equipment used in the production of moonshine.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're doing it in the woods.
Potentially deadly. Well, this sounds like a wonderful cocktail. Kids, stay away from the moonshine.
Didn't it become tradition? I wonder when, like, Prohibition era, that was the 20s. Mm-hmm. So we heard about, kind of the underground criminal element of it, of people, people. And I'm
bootleggers.
Bootleggers, people making booze in their bathtubs. You had rum runners, people distributing this during those times, hiding from the cops.
Like you've said before, it's a tough world out there, kids. Wear a helmet.
Absolutely.
I always love that one.
So to that end, is this just become a tradition now where it's like, you know what? My great-grandfather made moonshine, so that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do in the hills of the Appalachian Mountains. Right. I'm going to make it because my daddy made it and my granddaddy made it, and so I'm going to make it as well. And maybe that's the moonshine element. I wonder if there's still kind of like a solid, localized market for that.
What do I look like, the bespectacled scribe who covers the Vikings for The Athletic?
I always love that one.
That's why we have Ask Alec Anything. He may have the who, what, where, when, or why from like Granddaddy out Anniston way who was making some moonshine. Let's see. It's potentially deadly.
Yeah.
The consumption of moonshine could be dangerous and even deadly due to all of those factors. In summation, overall, while some may enjoy moonshine, The associated health risks make it a poor choice for safe consumption. I think that's all fairly laid out, don't you?
I think it's very fair. Alex had some moonshine. Do you want to play some mythical? I'm saying he's had moonshine before.
Well, he's from Alabama.
He's from Alabama.
So that means it's a 79.5% chance he had it before he was 12.
I always love that one.
Well, isn't that how they soothe crying babies in Alabama? Is they put a little moonshine on the pacifier.
iHeartRadio app, noon to 3, put them on top of the radio, and it acts like a dryer, and they just start snoozing.
I always love that.
There you go. How about this?
Somebody caught a stray, and for that, I apologize.
I'm going to trust the text line here to educate us, and we appreciate it, by the way, but 64686. PhD chemist here. When you distill the moonshine, the first fractions to boil off will have the methanol.
Oh.
So and that's the byproduct of the fermentation. This is discarded to avoid that methanol poisoning. Wow. Methanol poisoning causes blindness and other problems.
Wow.
Cure for methanol poisoning? More ethanol.
This is Moonshine to Noon.
9 to noon.
Stay away from the moonshine, kids. All you randy kids out of school right now, Billy, Christy, Johnny, Susie, Tamika, and Antoine, stay away from the moonshine.
I think we're actually getting to a spot now where we have underrated the listeners and the moonshine makers.
Uh-oh.
Because I got another text. Methanol comes out, started the distillation process. So he's speaking from experience, dumped the first quart of a 5-gallon run.
You're next level.
How about that?
Well, that's next level. I mean, that's next level. There are a lot of places that would hire you for acumen like that. Stay away from the moonshine, kids. This is the FITA, F-I-T-A. It's the FITA portion of Moonshine to Noon. That would be Fairness in Twins Act. What does that mean?
Larnick had 2 balls and a strike, no score, and the pitch, a swing and a drive into right center field, and deep back it goes, and gone! Trevor Larnick with a 2-run home run here in the 5th inning, and the Twins have a 2-0 lead.
The Minnesota Twins left somebody punch drunk yesterday in Moonshine to Noon-like fashion, and the reason we bring that up so early in the radio show is it's June, but secondly, the Twins, the Twinigmatics, beloved red, white, and blue of baseball immortality, are going to be a 5-day common thread, and here's why. We started the week with a talkback that actually, as Moonshine to Noon goes, blew up. It was entitled, "What do you think of the Twins?" That was it. Remember back to Monday, like 9:20, 9:35?
Yeah.
Moonshine to Noon. Like, what do you think of the Twins? Laid out 16 runs allowed over 4 innings after JoJo gave them a good start. A couple of 16s when you're losing to the Strangers. My man with the glasses, the backup infielder, pitching 5 times or 4 or 5 times. What's my man's Jonah Heim or something like that? Yeah, my
Jonah
man.
Bride?
Jonah Bride, thank you. Yeah, my man pitching way too much. So they were a common thread this week. What do you think of the Twins? Thus the FITA, Fairness and Twins Act, caught the vibe at the perfect time of the poor performances because Bleep got negative with the talkbacks. Lack of ownership, leadership, batsmanship was shaped by local lovers of the Twinigmatics and or the Core 4. FITA, Fairness and Twins Turnaround Act. JoJo stopped the bleeding Wednesday with a masterpiece on the mound. And after waiting hours yesterday to get in the game, when it rained, it poured on Softy's M's.
Zach Pop takes over for Seattle, and Lee sends one in the air to right field and deep. Back it goes towards the dock, and that is gone. Nothing old school about that. A sinker to Lee's liking, and the Twins add on. It is now 3-0.
2 in a row for JoJo. 2 in a row for JoJo. 2 in a row for JoJo. Yeah, they just went to battering somebody yesterday. Speaking of moonshine, it was intoxicatingly good.
At 3-1. And the pitch to left center. Rodriguez going back. Rodriguez at the wall. It is gone. And Wallner finds the bullpen in left center, and a swing he needed. 420 the other way. Brian Dozier applauding. Mauer's like, I've done that. It is 10-0 here at Target Field as Wallner hits his 7th.
2 in a row for Rocco. 2 in a row for Rocco. 2 in a row for Rocco. We know.
We're coming. We're coming.
There's a collective yawn within the Covenant walls, all right? 11.5 behind the Tigers. Still got a losing record. Wild card dreams already may be dashed. And they just hit the midway point of the season yesterday. Of late, finding Twins wins has become about as easy as finding them on television without getting pinched by the man.
I always love that one.
But it's important to moonshine to noon to share the good with the bad. And the last two have been good. So there's that. Sweep or meatloaf the division leaders. That would be the Tigers. Get some big games from Buxton to help the bottom line with jersey sales. And keep looking for somebody to buy the team so there can be some stability in the Twins covenant. That's the common thread known as FIDA. FIDA, Fairness in Twins Act.
Preach on.
Began with anything about the Twins. All negative. Ownership, leadership, batsmanship, or lack thereof. Ends the working weekday week with 2 in a row for Rocco. 2 in a row for Rocco. 2 in a row for Rocco. The NBA draft has come and gone. We'll get into that around the corner. Courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. What's on deck 9 to noon includes Minnesota Wild president of hockey ops and general manager Billy G. about 30 minutes from now. And Alec Lewis, who covers the Minnesota Vikings for The Athletic, 90 minutes from now. You're listening to Moonshine to Noon, and we're about to leave you punch drunk by giving away some money. And good morning.
Good morning, the fan, and BigDeck.com want to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. The keyword is green. You can use that keyword at KFAN.com. Might win $1,000 with the keyword green at KFAN.com.
My name is Desiree, and I'm a first-generation college student.
I'm Zach. I'm undecided in my major, and I'm a catcher.
This message was sent to you.
$500 down the toilet along with your performance. You are worthless.
Get the hell off the field before you lose me any more money, you sorry
This is wrong.
I'm more than a bet.
Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
Let's talk photos, not just storing them, showcasing them. You've got images that matter. Whether you're a photographer, a business updating your followers, or just someone who wants to share life's moments the right way. So why hand them over to Big Tech's one-size-fits-all cloud? Big Tech companies are the fast food of photo sharing. Quick, easy, but not exactly gourmet. And what about your data integrity? JAlbum.net is the photo sharing solution that puts you in control. Want to host images on your own server? You can. Want a layout that actually reflects your brand or style? JAlbum's customizability is unmatched. And if you're a business sharing regular photo updates with your audience, this tool was built with you in mind. But don't just take our word for it. Over 230 million web pages have been created with JAlbum, and it's got stellar reviews on Trustpilot to prove it. So head to JAlbum.net to download your free software and try it out. When you're ready to upgrade, use the code PODCAST for 20% off. Your photos, your layout, your rules. JAlbum.net.
Download it now.
Morning, guys. Jason from Rochester calling. On the moonshine, I think you're a little low on the 3.5%. I think more people have tried it than you think. There is actually an apple pie moonshine that a lot of bars sell that is absolutely delightful. Keep up the good work, boys. Have a good day.
Can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about the things?
Sounds delightful, doesn't it, Pecan?
I don't know, man.
Apple moonshine to noon.
That time I had it, it burned, man. It burned. I'm gonna stick to my beer. I'm soft. I'm weak, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay away from the moonshine.
You had 2 sips of moonshine. I happened to be with you when you did, and all you could do is eyeball me and keep asking me, want to smell my finger?
I always love that one.
Like, no, I don't want to smell your finger. It's been in the moonshine pressure cooker. I didn't want to smell my finger.
I always love that one.
Want to pull my finger? The NBA draft is come and gone, and we left it in worldly fashion. New to the Howl include Yoann Berenger, the 18-year-old Frenchman who runs like the wind and has arms that stretch from Maine to Maui. And last night they traded for Aussie center Rocco Zikarsky.
Oh, my gosh.
Rocco Zikarsky, you say? Here's the skinny on that move.
Speaking of skinny.
Is he skinny? I didn't see any highlights.
Oh, these guys are freaky. I mean, just length for days.
Go ahead and doubt Berenger. Go ahead and doubt him. You could doubt him when he's 18. But 4 years from now, I'm telling you, he's going to be unbelievable, running like the wind. Poor man, Giannis.
Can't wait.
The Minnesota Timberwolves have agreed in principle to acquire the draft rights to the 45th overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. Center Rocco Zikarsky. We traded with the Baby Bulls, and it's expected to be finalized at a later date. We're happy for the later date. Zikarsky, 7'2", 7'2", appeared in 20 games for the Brisbane Bullets of the Australian NBL this past season, averaging 4.7 points on 50% shooting, 3.5 rebounds a game, 0.7 blocks. Well, at least he played 12.2 minutes a game. Maybe games in Australia are 24 minutes. The 18-year-old, in his 29 games in 2023, 2024 for the Brisbane Bullets, 3.5 points, 62% shooting, 2 rebounds. I went up to a block a game in 29 games. He's a shot-blocking demon is what he is. Now, the Timberwolves traded twice in what many are deeming to be a buzzkill-like second round. And here's why. The intel into the second round of the NBA draft seemed to be surprising to Timberwolves basketball boss Tim Connelly. Here's what he said, quote, "It was really curious how agent-driven the second round became. We called players left and right, and there were 20 deals done before the second night of the draft even started." How? He didn't say how I am. There were 20 deals done before the second night of the draft even started. 31 is fun, he says, but maybe not as fun as we thought it was going to be. Moonshine to noon has heard a lot over the years. We had the Whizzinator back around 05-06. We had bilateral leg weakness. And we got moonshine to noon. Can't say we've ever heard this one. So how does that work? Deal's already consummated. Why isn't it so if it's like we thought this was going to be a lot of fun, but then it ended up being buzzkill central to a certain extent. That's the part I'm not understanding. And reading stories like this explaining it involving the word apron happen to be boring. So my question would be, if I'm a basketball boss, why isn't it, quote, "Hey, we love this guy, so we don't care if you have a deal set for him to play in like Orlando. We're drafting him, and y'all can deal with the what's next part of the equation, but we're drafting him into our covenant." Must be an apron thing. The diseased apron is now part of the sports landscape and NBA vernacular. I mean, we've gone from bilateral leg weakness to load management now to the apron. Agents dictating where players play truly is like the tail wagging the dog. All right?
Yeah.
20 years ago, the Timberwolves should have drafted Steph Curry out of Davidson, even though it widely was known he didn't want to play here. However, the take a little bit then and then a lot after, because hindsight's 20/20 and it's moonshine to noon, you test the metal of the stomach. Test the metal of the stomach. Do you have the stomach to eyeball your future, young Steph, and just sit out for a year or years? Generally, they cave. Well, then, if you love somebody at 31, then why wouldn't that be the case at 31? And you still, if Basketball Boss says 31 is fun, but might not be maybe not as fun as we thought it was going to be. Well, you can make it fun if you love somebody and you draft them and you test the metal of their stomach to see if they have the stomach to eyeball you and actually sit out, not collect checks, and delay something for which they've been waiting for quite some time. Am I missing any portion of this equation here that's super obvious and I'm just kind of looking dumb?
Well, I have to admit, I haven't read what you were reading, so I wasn't aware in particular with last night, for instance, that agents were dictating kind of the pathway for players, that this was indeed, I already have XYZ deal, etc.
Tim Connolly said there were 20 deals done before the second night of the draft even started.
Specifically with the players.
Yeah, that's okay. A quote all over the place, which is like Pasadena City College math is indicating, that's like 70% of all the players available in the second round, which makes it buzzkill central. How can that happen?
Well, and I agree with you that ultimately you want the idea that you take a player, they're appreciating the opportunity and all of that. But if we are talking about whether it's projecting for the future, somehow is this Tim Connolly also saying he had a deal for Zakarsky? That he had a deal with Rocco before the night even started?
I got no idea.
Rocco could have gone 39th instead of, I believe it was 45th, whatever the number was.
I just know in a three-point shooting league, we have a couple of 7-footers who are both 18 years of age.
I always love that one.
We're not second-guessing the process. The process has gotten us to the Western Conference finals 2 times, okay?
I think that when you take the draft and you separate it, any of those additional lulls, the ability for GMs, the ability for players and agents, maybe, like a Janai Broom who could have gone late first, but instead they get the night to think about it. I think he was taken by the Sixers.
Went to the Sixers to play with Joel Embiid.
So is that a Wednesday night deal is made? Agent starts calling around. Okay, we didn't go in the first.
Yeah.
So there's a loss of allure. There's a loss of glitz and glamour, but now can we at least find that we can find a GM who really wants you and is going to play there, and then you start making those calls, sending out the group chats. Maybe that's how it works.
Fair.
But I think, But
if you really want them, you eyeball them, you take them, and then you put the pressure on them.
Well, and that's what happened 5th overall with Ace Bailey.
Boom.
Again, going back to that conversation.
Great point.
It's been reported that the Utah Jazz were specifically one of the teams that he did not want to play for. And It sounds like there was another team within the top, let's call it the Hornets.
Correct.
I'm not showing up if you take me.
Yeah.
The hubris and arrogance associated with that as an outsider is a little bit frustrating.
I have intel on that.
But now they're saying that he did not travel, and I think it was Clayton, the other pick, ultimate via the 50 freaking trades and different ball caps they forced these guys to wear.
Right.
Walter Clayton Jr. en route to Utah. Ace Bailey not on the trip.
Crazy.
Maybe he's there Monday, but maybe there's a holdout. So that's kind of more where my focus is, because I think the risk is greater when you're specifically with a top 5 pick that a GM in a front office is doing what you're saying. No, actually, I think this player can be great here. And as a matter of fact, if Ace Bailey pulls his head out of his butt or maybe stops listening to whoever's representing him, he should realize, you want to talk about land of opportunity for a young scoring guard?
Preach.
Utah might be actually, in the end, one of the best spots in the NBA that he could go to produce early.
But Ace Bailey may not be seeing life clearly.
Yeah.
I'd like to explain that to you around the corner of something I found. And also, is what we're talking about agents dictating scenarios before free agency or drafts and things like that?
Yeah.
Is the tail wagging the dog compromising the integrity of sports? Now, during this brief pause, think Kevin O'Connell, a nondescript Saturday on NFL Network from Indianapolis. Everybody talking about Cuzbuzz, nobody knowing the answer. He's asked a question and his face falls because maybe he had gotten steam as to exactly what was going to happen, even though you're not supposed to have any steam on what's going to happen.
Right.
But it ruined his mood. Maybe this tail wagging the dog in sports is compromising the integrity of the game.
My name is Desiree, and I'm a first-generation college student.
I'm Zach. I'm undecided in my major, and I'm a catcher.
This message was sent to you.
$500 down the toilet along with your performance. You are worthless.
Get the hell off the field before you lose me any more money you saw in my...
This is wrong.
I'm more than a bet.
Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
You're right. Billy G., president of Hockey Ops and the GM for the Wild, about 10 minutes from now. An interesting question has emerged. We mentioned backup infielder Jonah Bride earlier in the radio show. It's a very fair question presented by Johnny the Mouse Mickelson, captain of the 83 Wayzata Club hockey team, and he wore the C, but he loves all the core four teams and Sky Yuma. Now, the Twins blew out the Seattle Mariners yesterday. Why is it that Bride never gets to pitch during the weddings? He only comes in for the funerals. Very fair question, the Moosey. It happened again this year, and Nordo mentioned it in passing with the tail wagging the dog with Tim Connolly, the basketball boss for the Minnesota Timberwolves, saying it was really curious how agent-driven the second round became. We called players left and right, and there were 20 deals done before the second night of the draft even started. 31 is fun, but maybe not as fun as we thought it was going to be. All right, well, go back to the first round, and the name Ace Bailey has entered the Covenant chat as presented by Mad Producer, and it ties into this. It happened again this year. Rutgers gunner Ace Bailey reportedly had his agent tell a team in the top 5 not to select him. Team, maybe teams up. But there's just a crazy rub to this that I just can't understand. But then again, I'm not in the mind of Ace Bailey. The favored candidate who supposedly was not to draft him, the Utah Jazz, who subsequently selected him at 5. And well, Danny Ainge runs basketball operations for the Jazz, and he was like, there is going to be no tail wagging the dog here. We're going to get Clayton Jr., and we want him, and we want him to run with Laurie. We want them to avoid Walker Kessler. Why? Because he clumps. But we really happen to like this one too. So hey, we may be the squad that is being told, don't take Ace Bailey. He's not going to report. Danny Ainge tested the fortitude, the intestinal fortitude, the stomach of Ace Bailey and his representation, and went out there and took him. That's what champions do. So Danny Ainge was like, again, ain't no tail wagging the dog here. We want him. We're drafting him. But here's the strange nature of this conversation, at least for me. There's some of legitimacy reporting Ace Bailey, while not wanting to play for the Utah Jazz, really, really, really wanted to play for the team selecting behind the Utah Jazz, the Washington Wizards.
Oh my gosh, above average at that.
What's wrong with this kid? I mean, seriously, what's wrong with him? You hate the Jazz, yet you love the Wizards. I mean, back to the moonshine topic here. Seriously, you hate the Jazz, yet you love the Wizards? Must be a D.C. thing. Oh, wait, he's from Chattanooga. He's from Tennessee. Played high school ball in Georgia and college ball in New Jersey. And supposedly wanted to play for the Washington Wizards. I don't think there's been anybody in the history of the NBA disappointed they are not getting the opportunity to play for the Washington Wizards, with the exception of Ace Bailey. So now he's going to run alongside Walter Clayton Jr., and we here in the Howe Covenant have a couple of 18-year-old center projects from France and Australia to stop them. and stopped them in what, maybe 3 years? We drafted 2 18-year-olds. What do we think of that? Does anybody even care? Talkback machine, baby microphone, 30 seconds if you need it. We'll fly into those after Billy G. We got 2 rim-protecting centers in a three-point man's game. However, as it was reported yesterday, and then now I've seen video of the Aussie, they both recently added mid-range games to the repertoire.
I always love that one.
I'm hitting mid-rangers now.
Here we go.
Obviously, the analytics of basketball have not made it across the pond or ponza, because they'll be wagging their finger at you. You are not to shoot mid-range. No mid-rangers. That's frowned upon.
You know, one of the dumbest things ever as a basketball fan, and I was never good at it. I was 6 of 10 at the line in the red gym at the YMCA in Mankato. I love the high glass mid-range bank shot.
Tim Duncan.
I don't know why. That's like the most beautiful. I mean, it's a ridiculous shot. It's a game of threes. People jumping out of gyms, highlight dunks. But there's a beauty to the simplicity of just the perfect mid-range near the baseline, of course.
Same.
Finding that mid-range bank. It's art. It's artistry.
Well, Michael Jordan and or Kobe Bryant, may God rest his soul, they couldn't have made it in the NBA this day and age because of those mid-range fall-away baseline jumpers.
I always love that one.
Honestly, they're going to wag their fingers at MJ and Kobe. No mid-rangers. Didn't you read the Hollinger bit? You guys, I mean, go sit at the end of the bench.
Oh.
Come on, learn to shoot more than the mid-range, fall-away baseline, lethal, cold-blooded shot. You mid-ranger. So, in closing here, if the Minnesota Timberwolves feel they have Julius and Naz Reid all buttoned up for an opportunity to rejoin the covenant, better hope there are no changes of hearts. And there probably wouldn't be, because that could get a little wonky up in the covenant if all of a sudden, under the cover of darkness, one of them's like, well, actually, I've thought about it for a long time. I want to play with the Wizards. What if Julius is like,
we should ask Billy about that next.
And that is Mad Producer's covert indicator to yours truly to go to break because we don't want to be late. We still got some more on that. We got Alec Lewis here at 11 o'clock. But we also have Minnesota Wild president of hockey ops, Billy G, joining us next.
My name is Desiree, and I'm a first-generation college student.
I'm Zach. I'm undecided in my major, and I'm a catcher.
This message was sent to you.
$500 down the toilet along with your performance. You are worthless.
Get the hell off the field before you lose me any more money you saw in
This is wrong.
I'm more than a bet.
Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.